This is an interview with Cookie Moore for the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's Oral History Project. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. We are at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, downtown Birmingham. Today is July 10th, 1996.
Painting.
Yeah, that's one of those original ones. Okay. Ms. Moore, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming over and sitting with us today. Just want to start by asking you some general questions about your background. Where are you from?
Hey, I'm from Selma, Alabama.
From Selma.
From Dallas County.
Dallas County. Your parents from Dallas County, originally from Selma?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
My maiden name is Kimbrough. My uncle, James Cleveland Kimbrough, was on the city council there for at least 5 years. And my family's been there for a long time.
Is that right?
Long time.
Did they migrate into that area?
They did migrate. Originally, I'm thinking that my grandparents were from Marengo County.
Okay. So did you have occasion then to go back to Marengo County as you were growing up?
Never did go back.
Is that
never.
right?
And I've never been there.
Is that right? Okay. So did you live in the area, the city area of Selma? Did
Yes.
you live out from Selma?
I lived in the city area. I lived, like, I'd say probably 5 or 6 blocks from Brown's Chapel Church.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's right in the heart of everything.
Right, and just
Yes.
walking distance.
Right. How much education did your mother and father have?
My mother had 12th grade education, finished high school. So did my father. My grandparents weren't as fortunate to be able to finish high school. My grandfather only completed 6th grade. He had to stop going to school so that he could help his brothers finish school, and he went to work to help them. And my grandmother didn't finish school either, but
So you knew both your both sets of grandparents?
I did. Knew both sets of my grandparents.
And they lived in Selma as
Lived
well?
in Selma also.
Okay. So you had a big married family right there in Selma.
Yes,
Everybody
I did. With my mother's only child. I'm the only child, and so is my grandmother. So when we were together, we always had a family reunion all the time, whenever we were together, because my family's not that small. So,
Okay, so you are an only child.
only child.
Yes, okay. And you were born in Selma.
Yes, I was.
What kind of work did your parents do?
My mother was a radio dispatcher. She worked at a cab stand. My grandmother worked in the school system. She worked in the cafeteria as a cook. And my grandfather worked at the Selma Country Club and at the Selma Steam Laundry.
Okay. And your father?
And my father worked as a musician. His name is James Moss. He left Selma, and he was gone for a long, long time. Lived in Detroit.
I see. So you then were basically raised by your mother and your grandparents?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
That sounds like me.
No, okay.
My mother and my grandmother. So what was it like growing up in Selma?
I have to say I had a good childhood. My grandparents were really good to me and raised me very well. At that time, At that time, we had separate fountains, separate bathrooms. Job opportunities weren't good for us. As far as being raised and being loved, that was great. Everything was fine. But as far as things being equal and being fair, quite different. I remember going to Uniontown with my cousins, and we went to the bus station, and I went to go to the bathroom, and my cousins were, I guess, about 5 years older than I am. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't go in the bathroom. That I wanted to go in. I had to go to the bathroom then. I mean, why should I have to go around the back? I need to go to this bathroom right here.
How old were you?
I was it was like 5th grade, 4th or 5th grade, and I couldn't understand that then.
You had not encountered that in Selma?
I had encountered it, but not directly to whereas I wanted to go in and use the bathroom and I couldn't, and I'm like, I'm standing there like, I gotta go to the bathroom, I want to go to the bathroom. My cousin's like, well, no, we can't do that, no, we have to go to this bathroom around here, so it was different. And riding the bus to school, well, we had city buses, we didn't have transit like people have now, school buses. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
We had city transit.
Right.
But, well, you pay money, but we had to ride in the back. Even though they had vacant seats up front, we still had to sit in the back. And shopping, people always watching you see, as if you can steal something when we're out in the department stores. And like I said, the movie theater, we had to sit in the balcony. We couldn't sit downstairs. Everything was just different. Go around the back. My grandmother worked in this white family's home sometimes to cook, to take care of their children. If I went to see her, I had to go to the back to see her. I couldn't go to the front door. I hadn't thought about these things until talking about them just now, about having to do that. That was really something. But she would come to my house to see my mom. She'd come to my mom's house, come in the room, sit on the bed, talk to my mother. That was different. I would babysit sometimes for some white families, and I'd have to sit in the back of the car, couldn't sit up front with them when they came to pick me up. So
what did that say to you as a child?
Said to me that something is definitely wrong. I mean, what have I done? Why is it that I'm having to be treated different? I mean, the only difference I could see was in my skin color, but it made me angry. Made me angry to think that I was being treated that way when I hadn't done anything to anybody. I mean, there was no reason for them to do me like that. And then I have to admit, that's the way it was. That's the way life was then. So I learned to accept that and to go with it at the time until the Civil Rights Movement came along. And, I learned different and that things could be better, and that's just not the way that things should be done.
Tell me about your elementary school. Do you remember your first grade teacher?
My first grade teacher went to private school, went to a Lutheran academy in Selma. All black, of course. Very strict disciplinarian. I learned a lot, though. I remember that.
How long were you there?
I was there, I think, 2 years, and then I went to public school. Payne Elementary.
How did they differ? How did the schools? Do you remember if there were much difference between the two schools?
Yes. And the private school was a lot stricter than it was in public school. And I guess maybe, now that I think back, in the private school, there weren't as many of us in the classroom as it was in the public school. And I gather now, and I guess having grown up, gotten older, in the private school, there aren't as many students in the classroom so they could get personal attention, whereas in public school, you got so many children in there, it's kind of hard to get around to everybody. But they were a lot stricter. And I can appreciate that now. I couldn't then.
Yes, absolutely.
But I can now.
You probably enjoyed public school more so than the private school, you think?
I think so. It seems as if I had more opportunity to interact, to be myself. I'm more of an outgoing, personal person. Of course not, you wouldn't. And being in public school, I was able to interact and do a lot other things than I could in private school.
Is there anything that's standing out in your mind about your elementary school days?
Well, I remember in elementary school, my aunt taught at that elementary school, and I ended up being in her class. And it just floored me that she didn't treat me special. I was just like everybody else. I didn't understand that at the time.
You're not a special
I was like,
child.
Aunt Velma, what's the matter with you?
Don't you know who I am?
I'm your niece. But that stands out a lot, and I enjoyed May Day.
What was May Day like?
It was a time when everybody got together and we had different functions. People, did show their talents. We had the maypole, dance routines, and it was held at night. I thought that was so special, and I felt so good being a part of that. I don't know, it just gave me a good feeling.
Yeah, it's one of those very festive occasions that you look forward to every year.
Every year it would come and it would have the maypole, and people clap the maypole, and we'd have tap dance, a folk dance, different kinds of things, and I just thought that was so special.
And you left elementary school, you went on to Hudson High School.
Well, I went to I think it's Clark.
Is this an elementary school?
Elementary, I went there 8th grade, 6th grade. Went there for 1 year, and then 7th grade I went to Hudson High.
Okay. So Hudson started 7th grade?
7th grade and to 12th grade. That's where I graduated from.
Were you active in extracurricular activities?
Yes. I was cheerleader, Tigerette, Future Teachers of America. What else? In the choir. What else?
You were just
I was
involved
Girl
in
Scout. I was involved in a lot, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you had, since you had a great high school career.
I did. I enjoyed high school a lot. I cannot understand why young people now don't enjoy high school and have a great time, because I feel like that was just the best time of my life. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I was involved in a lot of things, and of course with the civil rights movement.
Were you in high school when you got involved in the civil rights movement?
Yes.
How
I was
did that
8th
happen?
grade. What happened was when they came to town, we heard about it and they talked about it. And at first, my grandparents were kind of afraid for me to do that because I was so petite, much smaller than I am now, and I was young, like 12, 13, and she didn't want me to be involved for fear that I'd get hurt, something would happen to me. And I, on and on, Mom, everybody's doing it, I want to go, I want to be a part of it, I want to know what's happening, I want to do it, I want to see what it's like. So finally she agreed to let me do that, and I went with some of my friends to Brown's Chapel Church. And that was just a good feeling. To see this camaraderie, yes, to see all these people, everybody's the same cause, nobody's mad, nobody's fighting, everybody's there for the same thing, and we all want to work together, and we all want this, and we'd come together and we'd sing freedom songs, and we'd hear people speak, and that would build your momentum to get you feeling good. And to hear people talk about, we should have voting rights as well as any other race. Why is it that we can't vote? Gee golly, we participate in stores, we purchase things, we contribute, so why can't we vote? And that's when I began to realize that, this is not right. This is not right. This is a good cause. I want to be a part of this, and I want to do this. And after that, my grandmother felt better about it. My grandmother did not get involved. She had rheumatoid arthritis, and she couldn't walk that well. Well, at that time it wasn't quite that bad, but it was still pretty bad. But she said, this is something that I can't do because my temper is very bad. And Dr. King would want me to be nonviolent, and I would lose my temper. It's better for me to stay home.
So she decided to
So
stay
she
home.
decided to stay home. So she said, you can go and get involved. And, but it was just really fun. And it was a time that, even though all this was going on, I never thought about, I guess some white people could come along at night and hurt us. Because, you know, we didn't have cars. My family didn't have a car. No, I didn't really until just now. I was thinking about how at night we'd walk to the church. A group of us, we'd get together. And, you know, none of us, not by yourself, but a group of us, we'd get together.
Did you ever encounter any difficulties?
No.
Going back and forth to the church?
I did not. I tell you something that happened to me that upset me really bad. This is after the Civil Rights Movement. When I was a senior in high school, my pastor took some other young ladies and myself over to, we were going to go over to Spelman's College. He wanted us to go over there and see what it was like and everything. And we stopped in LaGrange, Georgia. And we went to use the bathroom and stopped at this place. That's what I'll call it, this place.
What was it, a restaurant?
It was, I think it was like a service station. I can't remember that well. It was like a service station. This elderly white gentleman came out, and my pastor asked him if we could use the bathroom. And he said some really bad things to us. And we were all in the car like,
very
whoa.
surprised by, what year was this?
This was in 68. This was in 68. And
So this
I never forgot it. I will never forget that. And if I can avoid it, I will never go to LaGrange, Georgia again. Never.
You don't think LaGrange, Georgia has changed any since then?
Maybe. But that was, I mean, he was so mean.
What did he say?
He said, hell no, you ain't using my damn bathroom. Get the hell out of here. Damn niggers. You know, I mean, he was just right there at the car. Here we are in the car, and he was standing right out here. He said that towards me. You know, he kind of leaned over and said that.
Did anyone say anything?
My pastor said, thank you, sir. And we drove away. And we were quiet, I guess, for maybe like 20 minutes.
And did you discuss it afterwards?
You know, we talked about like, what was wrong with him? You know, what was his problem? So, and
But that painted a picture for you of LaGrange, Georgia.
yes.
And that picture remained in your mind, even today.
Yes, I never forgot that. I mean, a lot of times you hear about things and you know things exist, but to really be involved and have it directed towards you, I mean, right at you, it makes a difference. I remember being a young girl outside playing in the yard. KKK came through.
Is that right? What happened? What did they do?
I mean, they rode through the street blowing those horns with the white hoods on.
What did you do? What did
Well,
people in the
my
community-
grandmother was like, you know, come get on the porch, come on in the house, you know, now. And I was like, what is this? What's happening, Mama? What's going
You
on?
went to see the parade, right?
Yeah, it's like, this is something you want, so you don't want to know anything about this. You know, how they come through our neighborhood and do that.
Right. Were you young then? This is
I was
before
young
high school?
then. This was before high school.
High school.
I was young girl. And I just remember being outside playing at night.
Do you remember what type of occupations that people have that live in your community?
Well, pretty much. They worked in a white family's home, cleaning, washing, you know, cooking for them, caring for their children. Pretty much.
Were there any preachers or teachers?
Yes, we did have preachers and teachers. like I said, my aunt was a teacher. My uncle was a postman. And then we did have ministers, yes.
So you had a variety
We had a variety of role models, we did. And what I liked then, growing up, I didn't appreciate it at that time, but I can now. I'm grateful I had these people in my life, my grandparents and my teachers and my pastor and neighbors, because they cared about us and they looked after you. Even if your parents weren't around, there was always somebody there. There's always somebody in the neighborhood who's going to see after you. You're not going to be hungry. If it's raining, you can't get in the house, you got somebody's house you can go to. You know, if somebody's bothering you, you can always run to somebody else's house.
like an extended family.
That was really good growing up, you know. Like I said, even though things weren't fair, it wasn't right, in my little realm of things, my life was pretty good.
Right. Because you were somewhat sheltered in many cases from much of what was taking place outside of that.
Exactly.
Community.
Exactly. I think my grandmother was very protective of me. Like I said, I was so little and petite. She was always afraid that something would happen to me, so she did shelter me from a lot of things.
Did you have cousins, first cousins?
Well, not directly in my neighborhood that lived some blocks away from me, but I did.
So that was, were you real close to them?
Yes, very close to my cousins. Since I don't have sisters and brothers.
Right. I had first cousins also, and we were like brothers and sisters.
Yes, and that's the way I am now with my cousins here.
Let me ask you about your activity in the movement. You were really exhilarated by the mass meetings. Did you attend many of the mass meetings?
Oh, yes, all the time, every day. We would go to school, okay, we'd leave home, go to school. Our parents knew that we weren't going to stay at school. We go in, we sign in. After homeroom period, the bell ring, we'd get up and leave. We go down to Brown Chapel Church, and then we had freedom fighters. You know, we would have people from all over. You know, that was so nice to see different people, and to even have white people there, you know.
Were you encouraged to leave school?
Yes, sometimes we'd have freedom fighters that would be there on the corner, not on school property, but maybe like on a corner as far as they could come. And, you know, and they would talk about us, call them SNCC. SNCC.
That's right.
Student for Nonviolent.
Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
That's right, SNCC.
Right.
Stokely Comic. I remember him. The only
What do you remember about Stokely? Do you actually remember the scene?
Yes. I remember him being a great speaker. Wanting to listen to him, to listen to what it was he had to say. I looked up to him. I admired him to stand out like that, you know, for what you felt like was right. I mean, to do that back then, to have that kind of courage was really something. I mean, you know, because to step out like that, you could easily be killed in a heartbeat. And nobody never really found out who did that to you. You know, so to me, that was just, to do that and to be able to stand up there and talk to these people that way was just really something.
You enjoyed that.
Yes.
Were there others that you remember that were of national note? Did you ever meet Dr. King?
Not directly. I mean, I was able to go up to him and speak to him, shake his hand, but not to carry on a conversation like I would have wanted to. You know, because everybody wanted to meet Dr. King. Everybody wanted to be part of him. Everybody wanted to be around him, you know. So it was great to have him to come when he came to speak to us. The church was crowded. People would be outside. I mean, just no place to sit. It's just wonderful, you know, just to to go there, to be a part of it, and to be around all this happening. And at that time, I didn't have any idea that it'd be history. Just wanted to be a part of it and to fight for what was right.
You were arrested. What were the circumstances of your arrest?
One afternoon, we march every day. And of course, we didn't have a permit to march with. And we went downtown, and they arrested us. And when we marched, I remember, I think I told Ms. Hendricks that they never put us in harm's way. We were always in the middle, never in the front, never in the back, always in the middle.
The children?
Yes. And so that way they always protected us, always made sure that we were okay. I guess that's another reason, you felt so good about it and always wanted to be around them, because there's always somebody there looking out for you, even though we were involved. Nobody left us. If things start to happen, nobody ran away to leave you. So always somebody there to try and see after you.
Right.
And we got arrested and went to, I can't think of the name of that place. It's like a prison outside Selma. And they put us in this big room, one big room, and
How were you transported?
we were transported on a bus.
Explain to me what you were doing when you were arrested.
We were marching along downtown singing freedom songs, and they told us that we couldn't march and to leave, and we wouldn't leave. And then that's when they told us that they were going to arrest us.
And they put you on a bus.
And they put us on the bus, and always, nonviolent. Never, we never shout back things to them, never rude, never ugly. They were the ones always ugly, rude. And they tell us to move and to go back. Well, we wouldn't. A lot of times the people in the front, they'd push them back, whatever. And they put us on the bus, drove us up to this prison. Put us in this big, large room, like a lot of us just all in this room. And the commode was in there, facilities in this room. I remember it was hot. It was wintertime, but it was kind of hot in this room. And then seems like they took us to another room and made us stand up and look at the wall. Stand there and look at the wall for a while.
They instructed you to actually look at the wall.
Yes, just to turn around, stand and look at the wall. So, but nobody never got discouraged. We always sing freedom songs. We always felt good. We're always happy, always in a good mood. And what they did was, they took our names down. I can't remember who it was that took our names down. And someone at the church let the parents know who all was arrested. And then the parents came out to get us.
Do you remember Jim Clark? Was he one of the arresting officers at the time that you were arrested?
I don't remember him being there. I don't. I remember him very well. Stout, mean-looking man, ugly person. And I mean features, but just disposition, ugly person.
Did you ever see him in action?
I saw him once when they marched to the courthouse, and he was there, Mr. Durkin. I remember Mr. Durkin.
Was he a teacher?
And I remember him telling them to move, to get out of here, get on away from here, no, you're not coming in, and pushing them back to leave, to get off the courthouse steps. Remember that. He was not a nice person.
How long did you remain in jail?
It was only for maybe, I guess probably 3 hours, 4 hours most.
So it was not overnight?
No, it was not overnight, because they came to get me.
Okay. Was that the only time that you were arrested?
It's the only time I was arrested, yes.
Did you demonstrate at other times?
Mm-hmm.
What is your most memorable demonstration?
Most memorable is the first time the Selma to Montgomery march on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. That was
Bloody Sunday? You were there Bloody Sunday?
That was horrible.
Can you tell me what that was like
That
for
was
you?
horrible. It was.
Where did you start it at?
We started at Brown's Chapel Church. We had a meeting. My parents were afraid, didn't want me to go, because my grandmother knew there was going to be trouble. She knew, she just knew that something was going to happen. And it was a dreary, cloudy day. We had a meeting before we left, and they said, they told us that they would probably tear gas us, not to rub your eyes, to stay together. Stay together, not to, have space or whatever between you, but to stay together. And so it was a solemn, kind of sad day, because I guess everybody could feel the tension and knew that something was going to happen. So we left, singing our little songs, march on downtown. We get on down, get over to the bridge. Well, of course, George was there, and, keep going now. And I wasn't up front because there were so many of us. And I remember them shooting tear gas and people screaming, hollering. And then they came with the horses, tramping with the horses, and hitting people with sticks and stuff. And they, I remember getting back to the church. I remember them coming down on the church ground with those horses, the policemen and stuff. People were crying, sirens were going, and the eyes burning, and it was horrible. I remember this lady getting mad. She was kind of a person that didn't, what is the word? She was the kind of lady that you just mess with.
She didn't take no stuff.
Right, she did. And I remember her getting really angry that, I remember her saying, I am tired of this, I am sick of this, we not taking this anymore. And then I was thinking, oh wow, we start fighting, if everybody starts fighting whatever, we really gonna have some problems. So it was horrible. It was horrible seeing those people, tear gas, and eyes burning, rubbing the eyes, running, trying to scatter. People tramping, chasing you off of horses. It was horrible.
You were 9th or 10th grade?
I was 8th grade.
8th grade.
8th grade.
And this, how did that impact your life from that time on? Was there any impact?
The impact I had is that I couldn't imagine anybody being that mean. I just could not imagine anybody being that mean to us. We hadn't done anything. Why would they do that to us? Why would you put tear gas? Why would you want to hurt us like that and trample over us with horses? I couldn't understand that. I just couldn't understand. I still don't understand that. I don't understand that. And I can't come up with any reason why.
Were you actually on the bridge?
No, I was not on the bridge. I was not. I was further back, back down along the street part. Right. So I wasn't on the bridge.
So you turned.
We turned and ran to get.
Brown's Chapel is quite a distance from.
It's not so very far, but it is some distance. Mm-hmm. With all those people there.
But you ran back to Brown's Chapel.
Back to the church.
Mm-hmm. And once you arrived at the church,
People were,
Yeah, because see, there were still people there that didn't go. And they had heard, you know, what was happening because you could hear the sirens of what was going on and everything. And when we got back, went inside the church, and they got up to talk about how they had done us and how, you know, a lot of people had to go to the hospital, you know, because of tear gas in their eyes and everything. And my grandma was just in a panic.
was she at the church?
She was in a panic. I don't remember.
And did you go back home?
I went back to the church, but they didn't want us to be out, you know, like by ourselves or whatever. We needed to have someone to go with us. I don't remember getting back home. I remember being there at church and them talking to us about, you know, what had happened, and how that was and everything, and it was just a horrible thing. It was just not good. It was.
Did you march on the 2nd?
I didn't go on the 2nd. No, did not.
Why not?
I don't know why I didn't go the second time. I mean, and we knew that it was going to be better and it'd be safer. Probably my grandmother wouldn't let me. She probably was scared, for sure. And then Miss Louisa, you know, she was killed.
That's right.
So, in Lowndes County, well, that was just not a
Okay. Do you remember when that happened?
yes. I remember
What
when
was
that
that
happened.
like? What was the atmosphere like at that time?
At that time, it was, I guess we were hurt and upset that it happened, but nothing really surprised you than that things happened to us, because I guess I always kind of look for them to try and do something to us. It hurt, and the young man that was with her, I knew him, I went to school with him. Like I said, it was a sad time, it was a bad time. You know, here it is, somebody came to help us, and then she ends up dead for no reason at all. I mean, there's no reason for her to be dead.
Do you remember Jimmy Lee Jackson? The kid that was killed trying to protect his mother. I believe it was in Marion, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember him. I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was some discussion of taking his body and in a casket and taking it to the Capitol and sitting on the Capitol, taking it to George Wallace. I don't think that ever happened, but that was discussion of that.
I don't remember any of that. I don't remember.
After that part of the demonstrations, were you ever involved in demonstrations again?
After that, I'm trying to think.
Because that, of course, was the big demonstration.
Right, that was
Selma,
the big.
Montgomery.
Now, after that, when Dr. King was killed, we had a big demonstration. That was not one of those nice, calm demonstrations. I remember when we heard that. We went to school the next day, and they told us that we would have a 20-minute memorial. Well, we weren't hearing that. Not 20-minute memorial. No way. When they got through with the memorial, well, the word had already been passed. We're leaving here. We're not staying here. We're going to march downtown. We won't let these people know we don't appreciate it. We don't like this. And we left. I remember my mother talking that afternoon after we got back, saying that we knew that you all weren't going to stay at school after that. We knew where to go find you. And we left, we marched downtown. I remember these shopkeepers downtown, these white people, closing up stores, they locked the doors. I mean, they were getting off the street. It was different.
Right.
It's different this time than it was before. You know, before they stand around and heckle and say mean things or whatever, but when Dr. King was killed, they closed up town. And well, and nothing, I don't remember, no, I don't think anything bad happened. I know we were upset and hurt and just really disappointed.
This is your senior year, approximately.
It should have been, I was either 11th or 12th grade, because I graduated in 69.
Okay, so that would have been your junior year, end of your junior year.
Right.
What did you do after high school?
I left and went to New York for a while. Didn't like New York.
So, to New York City.
Yes, I didn't like it there. That's not my kind of town. I came back home, went to Selma University for a year. I left there and moved to Tuskegee, got married, had my daughter. My daughter is a different breed. Different breed.
How is she different?
It is no way that the things that we dealt with, oh no. Now when I talk to her about what happened, and of course she's gone down to Brown Chapel. My parents were members of Brown Chapel Church, and I talked to her about, you know, what went on and how we'd be singing and where I sat and everything, and how it was that we didn't drink out the same fountain. She was like, what? Not drink out the same fountain, go in a different bathroom, go in the back. Mama, you know, it's no way I would. But that's the way life was. That's the way it was, and that's the way we were raised. And we didn't know different. That's what we did until we found different. And I think Dr. King was here. I think God had Dr. King here for that. That's what he was supposed to do. At the time that he did it, he was supposed to be here to do that.
Destiny.
Yes, and then he had the great vision. Who would have thought? Nonviolent, don't fight back. Don't beat up on these people. Don't talk back to them. Boy, what a plan. What a strategy. You know, it was just great. When you think about it, I mean, if we were all up fighting and killing, and it would have been horrible. God knows what would have happened. But he had just a great plan, just to be humble and just let them look like fools, because that's what they look like.
Who were the local leaders in
Reverend Reese was, he stands out to me, I guess, because he was a teacher at our school also. And he was really big in the civil rights movement. And I can't think of the other pastor that was at Tabernacle in Brown's Chapel, but they were big leaders. And they, Reverend Reese, he was harassed a lot. If I can remember, like something happened to his house, to him. But he's still living. He's still doing good. Yes. He's doing just fine.
Your life has been very eventful. You came up in a time of very exciting period of history, and you are a part of that history. And that's what we're attempting to do, is to gather those snippets of history from the various individuals. And it's obvious that you remember very well what took place.
Yes.
How do you think, over time, long term, that the movement has impacted upon you in your life?
I think if we had not had the movement, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Where are you now?
I work at Alabama Power. I honestly don't believe I would have a job there now.
What's
if it
your
wasn't
job
for
now?
me.
What
I work in the marketing department. I'm a marketing assistant. And no, I don't believe.
There were not black marketing assistants
Uh-huh.
in the 1960s, of course. At that
I would think not even cashiers. Oh, definitely not cashiers. Receive money.
Right.
not a black person.
Yes.
No. I learned a lot about treating people the way they should be treated and not being prejudiced, regardless to whether they're black, white, or Asian, or whatever, Mexican. We have to be careful in how we treat people because they are different. I'm grateful that I had it because, like I said, I learned that also. And I learned about being treated fair. It makes a difference. And black people are treated different. We are treated different.
We've covered a lot of territory, as I said. Is there anything else that we have not mentioned that you would like to share with us?
I don't think so right now. I'm trying to think about.
Let me ask you just one other question. If the movement was happening now and you had children in elementary, junior high, high school, would you encourage or allow them to participate?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I would have a hard time keeping my daughter from participating. But I would. That would not be a problem. I'd probably be beside her.
Right.
Mind alongside of her, yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I certainly want to thank you for taking
Thank
time out of
you.
your schedule and
Thank
sitting and
you.
talking with us. And maybe we'll be able to do this again sometime.
Okay, that'd be great. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
Thank you
It was
so much.
really fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just